Ortho Neurotechnologies is based in Kirkland, Washington, and we are basically a privately held C corporation, and this is the only product that we're interested in right now. However, we do have plans to create a collective buying system for chiropractors to help them get the best prices on equipment and stuff like that down the road. The best thing to do would be to just show you the video that we put together, sort of a generic video that will have a lot of information in it, and then we'll do Q&A afterwards. Okay? So let's go ahead and play that, Sean. Okay. Did you see anybody you know in there? Other than me, I mean? Does anybody have any questions?
We haven't put that into like our quarter, still like in like what's that limit kind of thing. We haven't actually learned how to set up any adjustments.
Right. So what's going to happen here is if you decide to do this, what you'll do is when you get off for your Christmas break, you'll log on to the Ortho Neuro website, you'll set up your account with us, and you'll be doing follow-along exercises on the computer. Also, there's a lot of palpation. We've created a rudimentary palpation, mostly bony anatomy with some physiology and some adjustive technique information that we've cleared with the administration here for first-year use. One of the most beautiful things about this device is that you need not know anything at all about human anatomy or adjusting or anything at all. In fact, in the very near future, people will receive this device when they get accepted to chiropractic college. And they'll be training their bodies in the interim between acceptance and actually matriculation. It's going to give everyone a big head start on actual adjustive technique, but not necessarily, I mean, there's really no way to learn to do this without getting your hands on about 1,000 bodies while you're here. Okay, you can't learn palpation from a computer program, but what you can learn is how to make your body do exactly what you want it to do every time. And so that's really kind of the nice thing about that, and that's why we did choose first-year students who haven't even been exposed. Have you even had a palpation class yet? Yeah. Okay, so you're in palpation. Well, that's good. What you're going to see on the Ortho Neuro side is probably quite a bit more advanced than the palpation that you're doing right now. But like I said, we have cleared it with the administration. You know, the worst possible scenario is that you'll learn some stuff just a little bit faster than you would have otherwise. Or, you know, I guess even worse than that is I might tell you something that's not true, but that's unlikely, I hope. So basically, we want you to take it home, use it for 10 days. We know what's great about it. We know what works. We know why we're doing it and all that. But we don't know how well the systems work in the field. You all have different kinds of computers, I'm guessing. You'll all have different kinds of internet connections. That's basically what we want to test. We also want you to look at what we've done and criticize it. You know, tell us, well, you know, this doesn't really work, or, and we don't want to, it doesn't matter that something that's presented there is a little further down the road for you, but more about usability. Like, for instance, you know, I tried to hook it up, and this was kind of awkward. You know, it was hard for me to do this or that. One of the things that we'll ask you to do is to create your own parameter settings. The DynaAdjust allows for the ability for you to say, well, okay, I don't really like any of these 12 pre-programmed sets of parameters for the kind of exercise I want to do. So I'm going to set my tissue pull at 8 millimeters. I want the margin for error to be only 2 millimeters. You know, I want the depth of the thrust to be a D-point, so maybe, you know, 4 centimeters. And I want the margin for error down there to be 0. You know, you can set it all up yourself. We want to make sure that works with all the different connections that you have out there. I think that it will take less than a half an hour a day. When I'm working out with this thing, I can go for about an hour, pacing myself literally almost the way I would in my clinic when I'm treating my patients. And that's about all I really want to do in one day. You'll notice that certain muscle groups will become, you know, trained, for lack of a better word. So originally we were going to ask you to do a 12-hour continuing education course, but then we realized that, you know, that might be a little bit unfeasible, and it doesn't really matter to us how many hours you do, so long as you go through the process of hooking it up, you know, fine-tuning it for yourself, and allowing us to gather data from your exercise sets. So, you know, even if you only did 6 hours of actual work, that would be fine.
Is there a, do you have like a table or anything like that?
No, you don't need anything. Most of the time, and you'll see in the doctor-patient setups that I'm demonstrating on the interactive website when you go there, you need not have anything other than a coffee table for the most part, or a chair or something like that. This thing is made to be used at home for the most part. It'd be nice if you had a real chiropractic table, but it certainly isn't necessary. Another thing that would be really nice is if you have access to a body. If you've got somebody who will let you palpate them while you're gone. Anything else?
Is this device also used, I mean, could I also use my Strada or Santo practice on that thing, or is that not designed for pediatric bodies?
You could use it to exercise for adjusting a pediatric body by using the lightest spring tension and the lowest amplitude exercises. Remember, this isn't something that you use on a person.
Yeah,
It's
because
not a
it's a
simulator.
body, that's why I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious if I can use my children to do those.
You can use them for your palpation example.
Okay.
They already have most of the things that they'll have as adults in terms of bony anatomy.
Okay.
Anything else?
So how long are the online courses that we'll be taking, the amount of time you want us to be practicing?
Yeah. What I did is a cervical, thoracic, and lumbar, or a cervical, thoracic, thoracolumbar, and lumbosacroiliac joints palpation plan, anterior and posterior, as a follow-along. And the reason I did that is because some of your instructors are taking this home too. And what we're trying to demonstrate is that by doing a blended learning kind of program where you're not only learning some of your anatomy and physiology, or at least hearing it again in a different context, but then you're incorporating your adjusting skills along with it. We're hoping that by doing this sort of blended learning program, it will advance your skills much, much quicker. And in the long term, we're hoping that it will eliminate some class time. As you know, the schools have all been talking about going to a 5th year. Hell, they were talking about that when I was here, because the curriculum is getting more and more crowded. If we can take out just a couple hours a week of useless palpation useless thrusting maneuvers, and have it being done at home on something that we can actually get objective feedback from, that would benefit everybody. So
you're looking at half an hour for 10 days during the break of...
Sure, if you did an hour a day, like I said, it's mostly follow along, right? And it's not structured to the point where I'm not sitting there saying, no, I want you to do this exercise, right? I just make suggestions. Like I might say, okay, well here I've got Maria in supine position here. Maria has been with me for 11 years. I've adjusted her 1,000 times. I know exactly where she needs her adjustment, right? But it's very relaxed, very low stress kind of thing, and I just demonstrate, for instance, a lateral brake adjustment. Of course, you're not going to do any adjusting on people, but then you take the unit, I show you how to set it up for that kind of adjustment, and then you practice.